This is Sports Minute, and welcome to the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am Ace, and of course tonight I'm joined by my co-host that's been a staple on this show for a long time. I am Ace, and of course tonight of course, I don't even know what just happened there, but okay. Anyway, so welcome in, Mr. Big B. How you doing tonight?
Doing okay. Cards again tonight. Finished fourth, so got some money. But outside that, ready to talk sports. My Twins ain't looking good, so we can skip over that.
And then, of course, we have James Gonzalez, which, I guess his face disappeared tonight. We have him. Oh, there he is. There's the man, the myth, the legend. He is here. How's it going tonight, Mr. James Gonzalez?
Oh, good. I just got off of work, rushed home, ate really fast, and interested to get into these topics tonight. And I'm really interested in the Isaiah prediction, wherever he may be. I'm really interested to see.
He will be here. He reached out to me. He said he'll be on, so we will definitely save that topic until Isaiah gets here. And so, of course, welcome in Christy Wilson. She's here. How's it going tonight, Christy? We hope you're having a fantastic night. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get to it while we're waiting for, the other two to show up. But let's go ahead and get to first things first. As we know, news dropped, just a little while ago. In fact, probably, 4 or 5 hours ago, whatever. Turns out that Deebo Samuel does indeed want out of San Francisco. He has requested a trade. He wants to leave there, and there has been speculation of people at first were like, why does Deebo want out? Well, now it's coming out to where Deebo's saying he wants out because he's tired of being used the way that they were using him, because he feels like they weren't using him. And I know, James, you're like, wait, what? This doesn't make any sense. Well, what Deebo is trying to say is that he's thinking about the longevity here. And so Deebo's talking about, how am I going to last in this league forever if the 49ers are using me as a running back and a receiver? He's like, I'll never last. So he's like, I just want the 49ers to use me as a receiver and not so much a running back. So he wants to go somewhere to where somebody will do that, to where a team will use him as a receiver and not so much a running back. But to me, though, if you're that dual threat guy that can do that, I don't know teams that would not want to do that. I mean, honestly, teams are going to want to do that. But if you come in and you take the amount of money that teams are giving you, then you'll probably be okay with it. But there's a lot of speculations now where people are saying, where's he going? Where's he going? Now, well, would San Francisco dare trade him anywhere in the NFC? Or would they probably trade him in the AFC? So this is where it kind of got interesting, because I know there was 3 teams that have reached out to him for him today that reached out to San Francisco. The 3 teams that we have so far is the New York Jets, we have the New Orleans Saints, and we have the Green Bay Packers. Those were the 3 teams that reached out to the 49ers to try and see what it would take to get Deebo. Now, everyone's saying, it would take a king's ransom to get him. So what it sounds like is that the 49ers want like a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and they probably want another pick on top of it. I'm telling you, if you're Green Bay, hey, I would love for Green Bay to go in and trade for him. We have 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks, so we have the capital for it. If we can give a first-round pick and a second-round pick away to get Deebo, I'm all for it. I say, go get him. Go get him. Bring him in. Why not? So, Brandon, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop this off to you, because somebody also commented on my Facebook page, and yes, the guy was a Vikings fan, and I'm just saying this. He came out and said it's been reported that he's already that there's already a deal in place for him to go to Minnesota. It's just a matter of time, and this is like 4 hours ago, and I'm like, so it was just reported that he was getting traded? They're like, yeah, it was reported by ESPN, and I'm like, when When did ESPN supposedly report that he was going to Minnesota?
No.
So, Big B, with you being a Vikings fan, have you heard anything about this whatsoever?
No, I haven't. I'm actually just looking right now to see. They haven't. I mean, I'm reading right now. 10 hours ago, they've been in contact with Samuel. Yeah, that's all I'm seeing. That they've, of course, if you're, Ace, you said 3 or 4 teams have called already. Honestly, if you're outside of San Francisco and the division, every team should be calling on Samuel just to gauge interest, especially if you got 2 first-round picks, 2 seconds, even a couple thirds. I mean, if they're going to only ask for a first and a second this year and possibly, maybe a second, third next year or whatever, why wouldn't you be calling? I mean, that's nothing nowadays. I mean, to give a first round. I mean, Samuel, you guys know me. I like the guys that can play multi positions in any sport, because it just, to me, makes it more of a threat. Samuel can line up in the backfield, receiver. Heck, he could probably throw the ball too if he wants to. To me, that's just a threat in my eyes. So, the teams that have Ace already announced, yeah, I would hate for the Packers to get him, but that would be a heck of a get for the Packers, or any team. So, and if the Vikings are into it, as much as we need defensive help, I'd hate to give up the first round pick this year because we only have one, unless we work our way back into the first round. But, if I'm a team holding 2 first round picks in a couple seconds, and I'm definitely calling San Fran on it. If that's all they want is a first, second, and possibly picks for next year, I'm definitely calling them.
Well, supposedly to this gentleman, because I had to relook up the comment really quick. Supposedly to him is that Minnesota offered a first round pick and Dalvin Cook and a second round pick, and I'm like, what?
Ooh.
But I have not heard about that. So I'm just saying. I think this dude's talking out his butt, to be perfectly honest.
Well, I mean, there is reports that the Vikings are open to trading Cook, but again, do you want to see him in the AFC or would you rather see him in the NFC where you play him once, maybe every 4 years? Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch what he does. I mean, we do have a couple nice receivers, running backs are okay. Cook healthy, he's an MVP candidate, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm looking, so if I see it, I'll confirm it. But I have not seen anything yet that they have thrown out a deal out there.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything about anybody actually offering him anything. I've just heard things about that these teams called them to see what it would take. But there was no actually offers that were thrown out there yet.
Oh, I'd be calling, no doubt. I mean,
so James, what's your take on this Deebo Samuel situation? Do you think he actually stays in San Fran? Do you think he gets traded? And where do you think he goes?
I almost think anything can happen. I was talking to Chris, pre-show, and it just amazes me how many players nowadays complain around draft before the draft, and then the service time isn't 6 or 7 years. I'm looking at Deebo right now, and he's going into his 4th season. Usually back in the day, I remember players would complain, in their 8th or 9th year, like, if we're not winning or if I'm not being used right, trade me. But it seems like everything's happening so much faster. All these transactions, all these things with these players and unfollowing their team on social media, all that crap. And he's done that. Samuel has done that with the 49ers. So automatically you think, oh, well, he's gone. I see that he's a free agent after this season.
Yeah.
And he's well underpaid at almost $4 million, and he'll be 27 in 2023. I the way he's talking, it seems like, okay, he wants to be a wide receiver or he wants to be paid the big money that the big running backs have got. So, Derrick Henry money. I'm trying to think of other running backs that have got paid and are, of course, they don't last as long. And I think Samuel, even though he's a great, Swiss Army knife, he wants to be paid at one position, and he's going to go wherever the money's going to go, higher. For me, I haven't heard any rumors. I just, kept seeing on my phone, oh, he's unhappy. He's asking for a trade. And you guys mentioned draft picks for this year. I look at the New York Football Jets, and I see 2 first-round picks, number 4 and number 10 from Seattle. Mm-hmm. I see 2 2-round picks, round 2, number 35 and number 38 from Carolina. If I'm the Niners and the Jets are serious about this for a 1-year rental, because who knows if he'll stay. This might be a Le'Veon Bell situation, and he just, gets out of town. For a 1-year rental, if I'm the Niners, I'm saying, hey, to the Jets, give me all those picks and see if the Jets go for it. If they're really desperate to get a weapon, even for a rental, what may be a rental for Samuel, I'm asking the Jets, hey, can you give me those 2 first-round picks, those 2 second-round picks? Can see what you can give me. So I would ask the Jets if I'm the Niners. But if I'm Samuel, I want to go to the Packers, a 1-year trial with Aaron Rodgers and using me as a receiver because you got Jones and you got A.J. Dillon in the backfield. There's no need for you to play running back. There's no need for him to play running back. So if I'm Samuel, if I do get traded, I want to go to Packers. But if you're the Niners, you want to trade him to the Jets for more capital.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of where it's like you're kind of sitting at like that. You're not quite sure because of the simple fact there are like 49ers fans out there going, well, just don't trade him if he wants to be traded. Okay, but the problem is you can have another Devontae Adams type situation to where, Green Bay offered him a contract and Devontae said, no, I won't sign it. I don't want it. And they said, okay, we'll give you a franchise tag. And he said, that's fine. I just won't play under the franchise tag. Mm-hmm. So then when it comes down to it, it's like, so then what did Green Bay have to do? They had to slap the franchise tag on Devontae Adams and trade him. So then San Francisco would be looking at the same thing. It's either you let him walk in free agency and get absolutely nothing for him, or trade him and at least get something for him. And so if you're San Fran, you trade him because at least you get something for him.
Mm-hmm. What about this team? How about Kansas City?
No.
I'm saying no. I get as a fan, no, but as a team, I mean, 2 first-rounders, a second and a third for Samuel all this year.
Mm-hmm. But those picks, they're not as good as what the Jets would be offering placement-wise.
You're right, but I don't think the Jets are going to move on Samuel.
I don't know. The reports were that the Jets were that they called the 49ers to ask what it would take, and the Jets have the capital for it.
Oh, the Jets definitely do. I mean, the Lions do. I mean, I'm seeing reports the Lions are interested. The Jays could be interested. I mean, like I said, if you're not in the same division or if you're 25 other teams, everybody should be calling.
So Imi says hi. So hello, Imi. Mess around is saying that if he's if that team trades for him, they need to lock him up to contract, and I think that they will because you saw that situation with Devontae, you saw that situation with Tyreek Hill, you saw that they had that contract in place when they traded for them. So
but before you could talk, But I believe before you could talk to their agent, the team has to okay it. So you got to call the team and be like, can we talk to him and see if we can lock him up for a deal? So
yeah, the trade virtually has to be in place first.
Yep.
And then the other team says, okay, since we have the trade in place, can I talk to his agent to try and get the deal done?
I don't know if the trade has to be in place. I think they just have to give permission. I mean, because like James has pointed out, he's a rental right now. He's got 1 year left. So do I want to, sacrifice my future for possibly not signing him? If I'm the Jets or something.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying Kansas City could take a chance on him.
Yeah.
Because they got two.
That makes sense, though. Yeah.
Because they got 2 first rounders late in the first round. So
it does, but I don't think. But I think whoever gets him, I think that they are going to try and sign him to a long-term deal. Because I don't think that they're going to waste those picks on a 1 year rental.
Yeah.
It definitely would not be worth it to waste those.
That would be a Jets move.
It would be a Jets move. It would definitely be a Jets move.
I did find one, I think it was Fan Nation, that stated that the Vikings, if they did do it, would move their first round and another 2022 pick, a 2023 pick, and either Adam Thielen or Osborne, I think was the receiver, one of the 2 receivers. So
I can see that.
Yeah, I could. I mean, then you keep your MVP running back, but
I'll tell you this:
they would get blasted if they traded the
it's
whole.
It's going to be a wait and see. It's definitely going to be a wait.
I'm wondering how Adam Thielen's going to be. He got injured last year. He's starting to get up there a little bit. Mm-hmm. I know he's one of the premier wide receivers in the game.
And he's a hometown kid.
Yeah, and if there's a chance, though, to get better, and if Samuel, stays and locks into a new deal, I think you have to make that move. I know it's going to piss off a lot of those fans, but it's always business. It's never personal.
Yeah, I think any team outside of Kansas City is going to ask to lock them up before they make a trade. Because Kansas City's
that's
got
the hardest part.
I mean,
yeah, which I will tell you, really nowadays, there's really no such thing as loyalty in sports anymore.
Yeah, That's what I was getting at when I was talking to Chris in the pre-show. I said, man, okay, you saw Kevin Garnett after so many years in Minnesota say, hey, we're not going anywhere, trade me.
Yep.
So I could go win the championship somewhere else. You got players now playing into their rookie contract, 4 years, 3 years, saying the same thing, but they're not going for a Super Bowl. They're not going for anything but the money. I mean, Debo got to, one Super Bowl, and, he wasn't the focal point, though, at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate the fact all these younger players are not playing the rookie contract out. Now, I understand it's different with a running back. They have a smaller shelf life. But like what you just said, Ace, the loyalty, there's really none unless you're a quarterback and if you're good. That's why I'm interested
not one for a quarterback. I mean, they're the highest paid players.
Right. And
unless
then
you're Tom Brady.
Right. So I'm interested after this season what happens with Lamar Jackson when it comes down to loyalty. They're going to say, hey, we need a pocket passer. We're just going to let you go. Or is he going to hold out? So that's another story for another day, though.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we kind of touched on that on that story a lot. So how about we jump into a little bit of the NBA playoffs that are going on right now? We can kind of just talk, kind of a little bit about what's going on and, kind of what you're thinking. So let's go ahead and start out with the Suns and the Pelicans. So when we talk about the Suns and Pelicans, James, I'll start with you on this one. With Devin Booker being out for potentially the next 2 to 3 games, are the Suns in trouble? Like, are they legitimately in trouble?
And they're going to New Orleans after splitting.
Yeah, they are.
The two in Phoenix. That worries me. And then you can always have the possibility of Chris Paul having the same damn injury, honestly. You would think, though, they have enough talent. They played without they didn't play without Booker, but they played without Chris Paul this season for some time. But it goes to show you what the Pelicans have done despite Zion. I first of all think that they should just trade him to the Knicks, see what they can get for him. Wow. But, Brandon Ingram, I love what he's doing. He's showing the Lakers wrong. He's showing LeBron. He's saying, hey, you need me. He went out and scored 37 points. McCollum, who they got in that trade, 23 points. He's a big, big deal. And I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Brandon Ingram to find somewhere, Pelicans nest, to, spread their wings. So I'm very happy about that. For the Suns, though, I'm not panicking unless they lose Game 3. And then you're like, okay, we need to get together. Chris Paul needs to lead the way. DeAndre Ayton against Valanciunas. That's going to be a big matchup without Booker there. And I know we're talking center position, but Chris Paul likes to do the pick and rolls. The benches for both teams are really solid too. So what was thought to be a sweep of a series is now must-see TV if you're an NBA fan. And I can't wait to see that, I believe, tomorrow, right? Game 3 in New Orleans?
Yeah.
I can't wait for that.
Which I was going to say, because you were mentioning Ingram before, but I was going to say, let's not forget, the Pelicans were geniuses for trading for CJ McCollum. Mm-hmm. That was an absolute genius move. Like, CJ McCollum came in and revitalized that team, man. Like, he has, like, that dude, since becoming a Pelican, has been flat out balling. Like, he has been looking good with the Pelicans.
30 points a game.
Yeah, so James, and so that's why we talked about it before, like when the Pelicans were going up against the Clippers, and we said, people are underestimating this Pelicans team. Like, they are, because this Pelicans team has potential, especially if CJ McCollum catches fire, if Brandon Ingram catches fire, teams are going to be in trouble. And so, Isaiah, I'm going to come to you on this one. Should the Suns worry because Devin Booker has to miss the next 2 to 3 games?
The Suns should absolutely worry. The Phoenix Suns are in deep, deep trouble. And I said this on a video that I did at work today because I was bored out of my mind. But it is 1-1 now, right? 1-1. New Orleans won Game 2. And, a lot of people are out there saying, oh, but Booker left the game. Booker wasn't playing. Yeah, he left the game, but he left when New Orleans was leading. It's not like Phoenix was blowing New Orleans out in that game. So it's a very competitive series now. I originally had it as like a 5-game series, but I'm telling you, with it being 1-1 heading back to New Orleans, that's what should worry Suns fans everywhere, because that crowd in New Orleans, they're going to be raucous. They're going to be hyped up. They're going to be ready to go because they haven't made the playoffs in 6 years. So when a team hasn't made the playoffs and hasn't experienced the playoffs in that long, their fan base is going to get into it. It's going to be like their version of the NBA Finals. So it's going to be crazy there. And without Booker, I think Booker being out is a bigger loss than Chris Paul, because Booker is the driving force. He's the guy that scores a whole bunch of points for them. He's like their 1A. So him being out for those 2 games, it's going to be a major blow to the Phoenix Suns. And with what James mentioned, that Chris Paul, with him, his injury, his injuries could pop up anytime. We don't know. So the Phoenix Suns, they are in deep trouble. And I would not be shocked if next week we go back to Phoenix and it's 3-1 New Orleans. I would not be shocked.
All right, Brandon, what do you think?
Well, I mean, get one of your star players hurt is a big blow, especially when he only played 25 minutes and still led your team in points for the game that he walked out on or got hurt on. So, I hate to say I agree with Isaiah, but yeah, if he doesn't play, I mean, 3-1 going back to Phoenix, I mean, That's gonna be a hard game to or a hard comeback on. Excuse me.
Now, I was not expecting to say this next thing, but I am. And I'm actually talking about the series that we've been watching. But I'm coming out and I'm saying this now. I would not get used to people saying this because I don't think anybody was expecting to say it. But Brooklyn, we have a problem. So Brooklyn, we have a problem. And what I mean by Brooklyn, we have a problem. You're now down 2-0 to the Boston Celtics. Kevin Durant, horrid in the second half. I mean, completely terrible. Had more turnovers than points in the second half. And you're not going to win games when your best player has more turnovers than points in the second half. Now, if there's a team that can come out from this 2-0 hole, it could definitely be Brooklyn because of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. But I'm telling you, Brooklyn right now, we have a problem. Even though these games were in Boston, now it goes back to Brooklyn to where Brooklyn can try and get this even now. Mm-hmm. But, Brandon, I'm going to start out with you. Is Brooklyn in trouble? Do you think that Boston's going to end up beating Brooklyn?
Well, man, it's tough because Brooklyn is talking about getting Simmons to play in Game 4. So that's going to be – I think Simmons is going to be the key factor. If he comes in and plays, then we might see this go 7. But right now, Kyrie kind of did his childish act Game 1, which was ridiculous. You left the fans different, which, I mean, as a fan, you're kind of funny. But outside of that, you lost by 7 today. I think Ace, I think you're right. Brooklyn right now is hurting. And they got a problem. Ben Simmons coming in, might be the guy they need if he comes back in Game 4. So we'll see what happens.
But think about this though, because they're saying that Simmons could come back in Game 4, all right?
Yep.
But if Brooklyn loses Game 3, they're down 3 games to 0, and Simmons.
Yeah, so
I think Ace just froze. So, all right. So James, how about you? Let's move on to you. Oh, okay.
I'm back.
All right.
I'm back.
All right.
Yeah. So at that point it wouldn't matter because Brooklyn would be down 3-0. They would have to win four consecutive games. So I don't think it would really matter at that point. But James, what's your thoughts between Brooklyn and Boston?
Yeah, for Kyrie to only score 10 points tonight, I don't know what the hell happened with him there. Seth Curry was 16, Dragic with 18 off the bench, and Patty Mills only 5. I'm surprised Dragic got 18. Maybe that was in garbage time. I don't know what. They shouldn't be banking on Ben Simmons if they are. They should just be saying, hey, we have enough damn talent. We have the best duo in the NBA scoring-wise. We got to go out and literally try to stop somebody. But it's a credit to Boston, though. They had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players in double figures tonight. Whenever you have, more than 5, you're probably going to win that game. And they had 7 in double figures, spread out scoring. Jaylen Brown with 22. I was amazed he was the leading scorer. So it's credit to Boston. And then I guess the only good thing for the Nets is that they're going back home to Brooklyn where, hey, maybe they can feed off the home cooking. The crowd can get behind them. And if they get down, quick early, the fans are going to boo and try to get the team riled up. It just depends if those Eagles can get it going. They just have to outscore them, basically. I think the Nets, in order to win, probably, they're going to have to score over 120 to beat the Celtics. The Celtics are a great defensive team. They showed it tonight. Forcing those turnovers and forcing the 2 guys. Well, Durant still got his 27, but when you don't allow Kyrie to score over 10, you're probably going to win a game. So credit to the Celtics, though. I know a lot of people are saying, aren't saying credit to the Celtics. They're saying, "Oh, what's wrong with the Nets?" Let's just give credit to Boston actually for winning the first two. Taking care of their business when everybody thought, "Oh, the Nets, don't worry, they went through some stuff. These seeds should be opposite. Brooklyn should be 2 and Boston should be 7." But Boston isn't hearing any of that. They're together. They've been together since they made some moves after a early, not a hot start to the season. So they've been on it ever since. So credit to Boston.
All right, so Isaiah, you think Brooklyn's in trouble?
No, I don't think Brooklyn's in trouble at all. I think Brooklyn's going to come back, bounce back in games 3 and game 4 because it's at their home crowd. And then I still think that this series will go 7 games. I think that, tonight, I think we're going to see each game the rest of the way look like how it did in game 1, where it just went down to the wire and have an exciting finish. I think tonight was just an anomaly. I think Brooklyn was up, 17 or 20 in this game, and then they blew it, I believe. And then the Celtics, they stormed back, and then they came back, grabbed the momentum, and, they played great defense down the stretch. But this is going to be, I still think, one of the best series of these playoffs, and I would be absolutely stunned if it didn't go the full way. There's just too much talent on the Nets side for them to lose in 5 or get swept. If they lose game 3, then they're done. But game 3 is an obvious must that they have to win. And I think they'll get it done. But, they, like James said, you should not be relying on Ben Simmons. You shouldn't, because, the guy hasn't played all year long. And you have Kevin freaking Durant and Kyrie Irving. If those guys can't step up and do way better than what they did tonight, you should grab their contracts and throw it over the Brooklyn Bridge, because they don't even deserve those contracts, and into the Hudson River. You should throw that into the Hudson River, because they don't deserve those contracts if they can't show up when it matters the most in the postseason.
Just wow.
All right, mess around. Looked like you had something to say on that. So,
Yeah, that is like wow. I don't even know where to begin after all that. Throw their contract? Come on. Austin Reeves better than those who get out of here. Wow. Somebody mute his mic for the rest of the show.
At least until we get to his LA Laker team.
At least they're in the playoffs. Where are your Lakers, mister? They're going to win more than 72 games this year. Yeah,
I wish better, but I can't say that. Come on, man. Even that would be delusional in my standards, or too far.
Anyways, like James said, credit to the Celtics. They're one of the best defensive teams in this league, and they proved it all year long. They got the best. They got Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart, and he's been really putting the clamps on Kyrie. But let's not act like if they go down 3-0 that it's impossible for them to come back. We've seen it in the playoffs before. It's not. It's hard to do, but it's not impossible. So even if they go down 3-0, they can still come back and win. It's been done before, but I still got Brooklyn winning this in 7.
all right, not bad. Okay, so since Isaiah's here, we get to go to that fun part of the show now. The part of it that we've been waiting for, to say how would you realistically fix your NBA teams going into next season, but you had to do it realistically with under the cap too. You had to stay underneath the cap. You couldn't go in and be like, I'm going to take the 5 best superstars and trade for them and put them on your team. You can't do that. You
can't act like LeBron's running your team.
Exactly. So you have to keep it realistically. So to go ahead and start out, I'll start out with my horrible Pistons and just tell you, because when you look at the free agent list for next year, I can tell you there's free agents out there, but a lot of them are not going to come to Detroit. So I kind of had to go with the guys that I thought we might have a little bit of a chance to come to Detroit to try and at least make it a little bit of a playoff kind of a playoff push. I'm not talking about by throwing this team out there. I'm not saying this would be, a championship team by any means. It would be a competitive team that might get us into the playoffs, which is kind of what you're trying to do right now because you're in rebuild mode anyway. So for me, obviously, I'm sticking with Cade Cunningham as a starter because he's definitely your future point guard. So you definitely have to stick with him. And then number 2, we signed Jeremiah Grant a few years back. He's been our best player. So I would say you obviously have to stick with Jeremiah Grant. There were so many teams that wanted to trade him. I'd be like, no, don't trade him. Extend him. Give him the money he wants. Have him stay. He can help you. Stick him at being forward. And then this individual is going to be a free agent. It might be hard for us to sign him. But if we could, this would help our center position. I would say at this point, go out and sign a DeAndre Ayton. Bring him in to play your center position. So you would have Cade Cunningham, you would have Jeremiah Grant, and then you would have DeAndre Ayton. And then at your forward position, I would simply say go out and sign a Robert Covington. I would go out and be like, let's bring him in from free agency, bring him in, help out the team. And then for your 5th spot, either move Bay from forward to guard, or sign Malik Monk. You could do that because Malik Monk this year wasn't horrible. But you could also sign Malik Monk anyways, bring him in, put him on your bench, and still have Bay in your starting lineup because Bay is not bad. I think Bay can actually be a future star on the Pistons team. So you definitely stick with Bay. Maybe bring in a Wayne Ellington to bring him in off your bench too, because you're not going to get a lot of big-time names. So especially in Detroit. So you kind of have to go with the guys you can get, bring them in, get some depth on your team. But for my starters, that's definitely what I would do. Cunningham, Grant, Ayton, Covington, and then either go with Monk or Bay, and then the other one would come off the bench. So that's how I would start with the Pistons and trying to get them to compete for a playoff spot. So realistically, I kept it realistically, and I kept it underneath the salary cap. All right. So, Brandon, how about you?
Well, looking at the roster, I mean, it's kind of hard to build a team that's still in the playoffs right now. So, But looking at the team going into next year, we got 11 guys under contract. We got 6 guys, either unrestricted free agents or restricted free agents, which I would let them go anyways. They're not nobody. So realistically, I would not make a move, but let's say I had to. I mean, I'd listen. I think Russell, I would try to move maybe to. Matter of fact, I did move him to the Magic, him and our 1st rounder and 2nd rounder coming up in the draft. And I would take on their center Carter Jr., bring Suggs home, and then I would bring in Bol. And then what I would do is get him to work out with Kevin Garnett, try to get him into NBA shape would be my big move there. A couple of salary dumps. I would dump Noel and Reed. I would probably call the Knicks, maybe trade another 2nd-round pick and get Seth Curry over here. And then I would run with Towns and Carter as my big guys up front. And then I would probably run with like 3 guards. I'd probably put Anthony Edwards as my shooting or small forward. I would probably go with Suggs and probably Curry in my backcourt. And yeah, right now I'm sitting under the cap by about $4 or $5 million with that team.
All right, so I forgot to say too that one of my moves on the bench would be Mo Bamba.
Oh, nice.
Just as a bench player. I'm not saying
I thought about him too.
But he'd be good off the bench. I think he'd be a great bench player. So James, your Clippers, what would you do?
So 11 players are under contract. You got Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Norman Powell, Marcus Morris Sr., Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann, Brendan Boston Jr., Jason Preston, Reggie Jackson, Ivica Zubac, and Nicholas Batum. They're all free agents after next season. So that's going to be interesting because that's kind of the core of the team in a way. And they all had to show that with Kawhi and Paul George out the majority of the season. Kawhi, of course, the whole season. And Ace kind of triggered me there because he wanted Robert Covington. The thing is, he's going to covet $14 million or more $1 million on a new contract.
We have the
And
cap
more.
space.
Exactly. You have the cap space. The LA Clippers do not, unfortunately. So they would have to move some things around. You know, Marcus Morris Sr., who still has 2 years left on his deal, they would somehow have to move that in order to free that cap space to get Covington back, or put Luke Kennard out there as well. You can trade him away with Morris Sr. to bring back Covington. Thing is, Kennard has another year on his deal, so I find him to be pretty valuable because he hits those 3-pointers at a real need time. But I'm going to miss Covington's defense. I don't think they'll be able to bring him back unless they move Marcus Morris Sr. And the thing is, I guess it's positionless basketball nowadays, right? So you have Marcus Morris Sr. and Kawhi Leonard pretty much playing the same small forward position. I guess the Clippers go small in that case. But, if I'm the Clippers and Covington showed so much heart, so much desire on the defensive end, I would somehow put a package together to move Morris Sr. out and maybe Kennard, throw in Batum, and in order to keep Covington. I think that would be the number one priority for the Clippers. They really need a guy like that who will do the dirty work defensively if and when Kawhi is not on the floor. So, just like Big B's Timberwolves, they're pretty much solid other from maybe losing one little key piece with Covington. I really don't want to lose him, but the fact is the Clippers cannot afford him unless they make some moves. So that's the only issue. And then health, of course, is an issue with Kawhi Leonard if and when he wants to play, when he wants to come back. So that's the Clippers in a nutshell. They don't have any draft picks, first-round picks for the next 4 or 5 years. Ooh. So not looking toward the draft for anything. They pretty much traded for Paul George. They gave away those picks and other picks as well. So it's going to be probably not a busy offseason for the Clippers unless something drastic happens.
Okay, and of course, the big one that we've all been waiting for to make sure he can keep it realistic, especially underneath the salary cap. All right. So, Isaiah, tell me what you would do to fix the LA Lakers.
Well, who's the coach first? Because you got a vacancy there.
First of all, I'm just so glad that I've been named president of basketball ops for the Lakers. I've always been dreaming about that title. Let's start with the coach. If I'm the Los Angeles Lakers, the guy that I would hire is not Mike Krzyzewski, even though I want him bad. But if I'm the Lakers, there's 2 guys that I think the Lakers go out and should get. The first one, Juwan Howard from Michigan, because what you need to do is you need a coach that LeBron will respect and will actually listen to. And Juwan Howard did not take any crap from LeBron when they were in Miami. In fact, they actually got into a few, not brawls, but they got into a few arguments down there in South Beach. So LeBron obviously respects Juwan Howard. He likes Juwan Howard. He's going to listen to Juwan Howard. And Juwan Howard will help you now because LeBron will listen to him. And, Howard would demand accountability from the star players having played in the NBA. So he can help you now, and also he can help you in the future, especially when LeBron James probably leaves the Lakers in a year, when you have to rebuild and you're going to have to develop young talent. Howard's a college coach. He's developed young talent at Michigan. So it's like a perfect coach for now and also for the future as well. So if I'm the Lakers, my first move is to hire Juwan Howard to be the head coach of the Lakers. Plus, him and Pelinka were teammates at Michigan, so that makes sense right there. In terms of the roster, all right, I'm going to go wild with this. I'm going to go wild and wacky.
Well, we knew you would.
Oh, yeah.
I'm scared.
I'm going to do a three-team trade. In which I will deal Russell Westbrook and the Lakers' 2027 first-round pick to the Oklahoma City. 2027. That's the only pick they have left. That's what a lot like teams
Are you
that
kidding
want
me?
Westbrook is. Yeah, that's what the teams that want Westbrook is wanting. That's why the Rockets, they didn't want to pull that John Wall for Westbrook straight up deal, was because they wanted the Lakers' 2027 pick. So what I am going to do is I'm going to do a three-team trade in which the Cavaliers will sign and trade Colin Sexton to LA. He's a restricted free agent. He's not going to get more than like $25 million because he got hurt with a torn meniscus this year. The Cavs will sign and trade Sexton, move him to LA. LA will then trade Russ and his big fat contract and get that off the books to Oklahoma City and reunite Russ with the Thunder, trade Oklahoma City their 2027 first-round pick, and then also Cleveland would get a few players back from Oklahoma City, and then maybe a pick or two from the Lakers in return. Yes,
So,
Adam.
Let me ask you this. Do you know how much money Russell Westbrook is owed next year?
47.
$47 million is what he's owed.
That's a tough contract to move.
And you're telling me that there's a team out there that's going to be dumb enough to take on that contract?
Oklahoma City, because he got only 1 year left. It's a great way to sell tickets. They have so much cap space. I think
they're not going to do it. They've already had him. They've already done the Westbrook experience. They're not going to do that.
No, they were one of the teams that were interested in Westbrook at the trade deadline. But they wanted the Lakers 27 first-round pick, which LA was like, nah, we're not going to give it to you. But, I mean, it gives them another first-round pick. It gives them
5 years.
You could sell tickets with. And then Sexton would be great for LA. Plus, Cleveland doesn't want him because they have Garland, they have LeVert. So it makes total sense.
Yeah, doesn't that tell you, though? Doesn't that tell you that what teams think of Russell Westbrook when they're like, well, we'll take him, but you have to give us a first-round pick to take him? If that tells you anything about the guy, they're like, yeah, we'll take him, but you have to give us your first-round pick.
I mean, but what is Saxon going to sign for? I mean, because the salaries have to match up X amount of percent. And,
right.
I mean,
25, 27, 30 million, probably.
All right.
Oh, wow. Okay, keep going, Isaiah.
Well, anyways, finish.
Right. So after the whole the Sexton move is done, so you got your point guard already. I will just fill my roster with just what you can do, veteran minimum contracts, because you got THT and his $10 million still on the books, and you're not going to trade. Like you probably won't be able to trade that. Plus, Kendrick Nunn is going to pick up his club option, so that's another salary you can't trade. Definitely, no doubt, pick up Reeves' club option. It would be an absolute no-brainer to pick it up. And then I would pick up like all the young guys' club options: Stanley Johnson, Wenyen Gabriel, Mac McClung's club options. Pick all that up. They'll probably not even cost that much. And then, so that's what. So you have the three guys: Sexton, LeBron, and Davis on the team. You have Reeves, McClung, Johnson, Gabriel. Yeah, so that's like 7, and then you just fill it up with veteran minimum deals. Bring back Dwight Howard. Bring back
my God.
Carmelo Anthony.
This
Bring back.
experiment didn't go good this year. This experiment didn't go good this year.
No.
But you have a new point
So
guard.
you can win 23 games next year?
Who can shoot finally? And then what else? I mean, you just basically have to fill it up with veteran minimum. It's probably gonna try to get. Oh,
They've
Paul
done-
Millsap. I would sign him
Say
too to vet minimum.
We've
Say
seen
it,
that
Isaiah.
story before.
Say it. I say LeBron destroyed my Lakers because he wanted Russell Westbrook, and he whined and cried until he got it. And then once he got what he wanted, he said, "I didn't want this roster. I'm not the one who asked for it." I'm like, "Yeah,
right.
you did. Yeah,
I didn't know he was going to be this bad.
Right.
Hey,
Whoops.
yes, I'll say it.
Let's go get my buddy Carmelo,
Yeah,
too.
LeBron ruined my Lakers, but I just built them back up into contention. There you go.
With
He
LeBron still there.
He destroyed the Lakers by complaining until he got what he wanted. But then it wasn't his fault. Then it was not his fault. Like once they started losing, LeBron's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I never wanted this." I'm like, "Yeah,
I
you
mean,
did."
you might have a better chance of trading LeBron than you would Westbrook.
Yeah,
So
you
Hey.
would.
LeBron has 1 year left on his contract, and everybody knows he wants to play with his son.
He'll go back to
Oh.
Cleveland. All right. Well, anyway, so
Wow.
mess around. We'll go to you.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to do things with the teams in the playoffs, like Brandon said with his team. And then I'm so glad they won the game tonight against the Bucks. Fantastic game. Down the wire. Game they had to win. But if I'm going to make a deal that I have to make, I'm trading Zach LaVine.
Wow.
And here's why.
He's actually a free agent next year.
Yeah, I'm signing and trading him because he's going to win a max deal. And he can only get that from Chicago. So I'm going to sign and trade him to the Washington Wizards for Bradley Beal. And then
Wow.
I'm going to flip Vucevic or whatever his name is and Kobe White to the Lakers for Anthony Davis.
Wow.
Wow.
I thought for sure you would have kept Levine.
I want to touch
but
Davis
it's
whatsoever.
DeRozan's team now. It's totally
Yeah.
DeRozan's team, and Levine's does not like. He doesn't really mess with him in the backcourt. I mean, like, he's not the same guy he was last year.
Wow.
So I'm shipping him out, and I'm going to trade him to the Wizards for Bill.
Interesting.
That is
Wow.
interesting.
I want to touch AD though.
No,
There's
I
no
know.
way.
I'm kind of worried about that one because he's injured prone.
Because
But
there was actually a trade report out there that the Lake or somebody one of the analysts, I can't remember who it was, said the Lakers should trade AD to the Warriors for Klay Thompson and Wiggum, the center.
Oh,
Wiseman?
Yeah, Wigman, yeah. And I'm just like,
yeah.
if that's the case, then I would rather call the Timberwolves to trade Clay to Minnesota with Wiggins and get Big Cat. I'd be open to that deal.
Wow. No, they got so many shooters though in Golden State. You don't want to mess with that.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's why you get the Big Cat in the middle there, and
Yeah.
So-
yeah, that would.
but like James, basketball is just 5 guys out there. There's no positions anymore.
Yeah, there is none.
I'm curious. With the team I gave you of the Detroit Pistons, do you think that would be a competitive team to be on a playoff bubble?
Oh, it'd be more competitive than the Lakers team that Isaiah. put together.
yeah, I think it all depends on how if Cade Cunningham continues to develop the way he's finished out the year. If he
What are they
elevated his
picking,
game a little
Ace?
more than what he
Huh?
What are they picking? Number 3 or 4?
We don't know yet.
It hasn't been
We
decided
don't
yet.
know yet.
Oh, duh! I'm thinking like football. I forgot
Yeah.
NBA.
Yeah, we don't know yet. Now we finished as the 3rd worst team in the league, so
Oh, okay. You'll
So-
probably get. Yeah,
Top 5
Third
to
or
7,
fourth pick.
1 to 7, somewhere in there.
but I'm telling you, with Cade and Jeremiah Grant and DeAndre Ayton, Robert Covington, and Bay as the starting 5, I think you'd be borderline right there to be able to play at least make it in a play-in game.
the only thing with DeAndre
Like-
Ayton I don't know if he ever left Phoenix, he would be worse wherever else he goes.
I don't know.
And eventually that'll come that day whenever Chris Paul retires. Aiden has to do everything by himself. And I wonder, would the Pistons be open for trading for Russell Westbrook?
You know, there's been speculation about that, but I don't want that cancer anywhere near.
Right.
Right? Nope.
Well,
No.
that's just
No.
We
that's
already
just
suck
like
as it is.
That's
that's
a
just like
whole
any
lot of
team
notes.
now. I mean, you're trying to build towards the future, but LeBron's son is coming up. It's like, okay, LeBron and him are going to be a package deal. So would you want to stay away from that?
Yeah.
And knowing my luck, what'll happen is the Pistons will suck and then draft Bronny. And then James will be like, "Oh, I'm coming to Detroit." And I'll be like, "No, no."
Well, who's going to end up? Here's what I think. I think it's going to be the Bulls that are going to end up with LeBron and Bronny.
Ooh. Yeah.
No.
Why don't the Pistons just bring?
I just
No, I don't want LeBron anywhere near my Bulls. I will not be a Bulls fan if LeBron goes there.
It would make sense though.
No,
Come to LA, Dave. Come to LA. We got
you draft Scottie Pippen Jr. this year in the second round, and then you take next year you draft Bronny, and then you sign LeBron James to a
no, just no. If LeBron goes to the Bulls, I will not be a Bulls fan for as long as he's there.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Chris Middleton has a sprained MCL, so that's something to look forward to in that Bulls-Bucks series going to Chicago.
In that second half.
Yeah. Ooh. And Bobby Portis got hit in the eye, so
I like the fact that DeRozan went after Guinness. That was pretty nice.
Yeah. Maybe the Pistons should bring back like Isaiah Thomas and Lambeer, Grant Hill.
So really quick before we go ahead and wrap this up, Big B, you have everybody's baseball teams in front of you.
Oh my God.
I sure
so
do.
We're gonna go ahead and see where everybody's at, standing
Chris,
wise.
can you share my screen, please?
All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll start over here. So Crispy Bacon, right now it looks like he's sitting at, I can't tell if that's 16 or 10.
Yep, 16 points.
16. So Crispy Bacon, go ahead and read your teams off.
I can't really
you can see them.
I can't.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Right,
I got them.
Yeah, I've got them. Yeah, I've got them too. So
okay. So you got the Dodgers at 9-3. You got the Cleveland team at 6-5. You got the Royals at 5-5. You got Philly at 5-8, and you got the Rangers at 2-8.
So he's sitting at 16 points. So
yep, he's sitting at 16 points.
Hey,
all right, Big B.
Yeah, the Big B Ballers. We got the Brewers, at 8-5. We got the Vegas A's at 7-6. You got the Astros at 6-6. You got the Mariners at 6-6 or 6-5, and you got the Orioles at 4-8. I got 14 points. I'm just a game over 500.
Okay.
And now you look at my team, the Jumping James I don't know. The San Francisco Giants are 8-4. They have 4 points. Tied with the Colorado Rockies for first place with 8-4 record, but 3 points. Tied with the Tampa Bay Rays, 7-6 and 3 points. And not doing their jobs, the Minnesota Twins and the Miami Marlins, both with 1 point, 4-8 and 4-7 respectively. And of course, James in last place with 12 points total. Keep it up.
Colorado's going to fall back down to earth too. It's going to get lower.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. All right. So then I will go to mine, and the teams that I have. Well, let me go ahead and pull this up really quick because I just had it here. Okay, so I need to pull this up. All right. So the teams that I have, the good old freaking Pirates. But
not as bad as the Reds.
But not as bad as the Reds. So right now, the Pirates. Yep, I've got them.
Yep.
I've got the Blue Jays.
Yep.
I've got the Padres.
Yep.
I've got the Cardinals.
Yep.
And I've got the Mets.
Yep.
And those are the teams that I have right now. Looks like I have
19.
That's 19 points. So right now, my teams are actually helping me out immensely right now. I'm actually sitting in first place right now. I've never been in first place in this game. Last year was Crispy Bacon most of the year that I was sitting in first place. So right now I'm sitting in first place. Now we go over to Wild Takes, which is Isaiah.
Yep.
Well, when you look at my team, first of all, I have the Reds, who are in last place. They're one of the worst teams in baseball. I swear the University of Cincinnati could play better baseball than them right now if they were in the major leagues. They have 1 point. The Detroit Tigers, who are predicted to win the AL Central, they are in second to last in that division. They are second, or they have 2 points. I'm trying to read this. The Braves. Aces Braves are disappointing me. They have 3.
It's early. We'll be okay.
Yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be up there for sure. The Yankees, second place right now, doing pretty good at 4. And the biggest surprise is actually James's Angels, who I expect them to kind of be mediocre in that division, but they're number 5 or at their first place. So they got 5 points, and I got. What is it, 15? 15 points?
How 15 in the world is Isaiah in third place in this game? Like, I'm like, are you kidding
Angels.
me? Yeah, and then we have, so then let's go to Dave's team here. Dave, do you have your teams written down or not?
Yeah, I got them. I got, let's see. I got the Diamondbacks, one of the worst teams in the league, crappy, who are 4-8.
Sorry, guys.
I got the Red Sox. Let's see where they're at.
Who are you talking about? The
Red Sox are 6-6. They're in fourth place.
The Nats.
I got the Nats. And I don't know where they're at. And I got the White Sox, who are tied for first with the Guardians.
Yeah.
And then I got the Cubs, who are in third place.
Yeah. So, Mess Around has a total of 15 points, I do believe. It's either 14 or 15.
14.
Well, if you go by the stats, they're second right now, so they would have 14.
Yep. So he's got a total of 14 points so far. But I have to ask you, Isaiah, were you expecting for the Angels right off the bat to have you 5 points in this game? I don't think anybody was expecting the Angels to have, of all the teams you have, I don't think you're expecting the Angels to have you 5 points at this time.
No, I didn't. Like the Reds, I expected them to be in last for sure, but the Angels, I feel like are the biggest shock because I don't think anybody expected them to be in first place. I believe them, the A's, and the Mariners are tied for first, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that.
No, it's just the Angels and the A's.
Yeah, and so for me, my biggest surprise team right now that's actually been hanging around 500 that's actually shocked me is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Yeah, that's the team that shocked me to start the season. I was expecting them to be at 1 or 2 wins to start out the season, but they're actually hovering around 500. I'm like, wow, these guys are actually getting me some points. This is an okay Pirates team. So James, good or bad, which team is surprising you out of your teams right now?
The Colorado Rockies? Question mark.
Right?
I'm like, wait, okay, maybe they know what they're doing. Maybe. It's only the first, it's the first 3 weeks though. And then I believe it was my last place was no.
Twins and the Marlins.
The Twins. Yeah, the Twins I thought would be a little better, and maybe they will. Who knows? But I think the biggest surprise is Colorado Rockies all around baseball. There's just no way they should be where they are, and they probably won't be. So we'll see.
I'm not going to lie, Big B, when I looked at the Twins record, I had to take a second glance. I'm like, that can't be right.
Right.
I was like, wow, it is. I was like, holy cow.
The sad thing is with the Twins, it's like I was thinking that the bats would be okay and the pitcher would be stinking up the joint, but it's kind of the other way around. The pitcher's been decent, especially the starting five have been okay. The bullpen's been decent, but the bats have just not waking up. You got Sano, your big power hitter, batting 091 now. He got a hit today. Woo! I think maybe Isaiah probably has a better chance of batting over 100 than him right now. But for me, I mean, I got 3 teams in the West there, so if I can keep them at 1, 2, and 3, I possibly have a chance to win this. But my surprise team, I gotta go with the Rockies right now, hanging around there. The Padres, they're missing their big stud. I mean, those 2 teams are kind of surprising me right now, hanging around. I thought they would struggle.
I'm talking about with your teams.
With my teams? Oh,
yeah.
Shoot. Who do I have? Let's see. Astros, Mariners, A's. Oh, well, obviously the A's being right in the middle there. They only played in front of less than 3,000 people today, so. And Isaiah was one of them. I mean, I don't know if
2,703.
Yeah, they probably need to start counting the workers in as spectators because that's probably all they do now. So, but yeah, I would say the A's are kind of shocking right now, being in the middle of the pack there, because I thought they would have fallen off like the Reds. So,
and I don't think you're surprised at all that the Orioles are sitting in last place.
I really don't want to count the Orioles. I mean, I mean, it surprised me when I look at the standings, be like, oh, they won a game today. Oh, okay, they won. Oh, they beat the Yankees today. Oh, okay, they must have had their AAA team up there, or didn't show up, and
Well, it's kind of funny though, because when the Orioles play the Yankees, you can actually hear like the Yankees fans go, well, the Yankees are in mid-season form and they're losing to the Orioles because for some reason they struggle against the Orioles. I don't get it.
The thing is they come in only wanting to play 6 innings, keep forgetting that the Orioles play 9. So,
Right? Yeah, they do. Well, that actually brings it to the end of the show, but I think you guys saw my little rant in the chat today that, I'm seriously getting like the Dodgers fans are just getting obnoxiously ridiculous right now. Like it's getting so obnoxiously ridiculous. Like Isaiah,
led by the biggest one that we know of.
Like Isaiah and Mess Around and James and Big B, you'll never hear me ever say this again in my life. But if it was the Yankees and Dodgers in the World Series, as much as I despise the Yankees, I would actually pick the Yankees at this point.
Honestly, I wouldn't even probably watch the World Series.
That is how much I'm like obnoxiously sick of Dodgers fans during the season. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to. Like they're getting so I can't take it anymore. Like
if that was the World Series, I probably would not watch it.
You're right. I'm right there with you. I would not watch it, but in the back of my head, I'd be like, "Go Yankees!" Like I would seriously be saying,
"I couldn't even say go Yankees."
I would hope for a labor stoppage right before the World Series.
That would be sweet.
That would be a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of it. All right. Well, anyways, we're at the end of the show. So, Big B, your final thoughts.
Final thought. It's a great show. Thanks for everybody that commented, joining us today. Just keep checking out Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. We got a lot of things going on, a lot of programming. I'll let Ace talk about the big news that we got coming up on Thursdays. So, but with that being said, just keep checking us out.
All right, James.
Well, shout out to Dave's Bulls for winning and going home with the split. That's going to be an interesting series going forward. Shout out to Shohei Ohtani today pitching against the Astros. 6 innings, 1 hit, no one runs, and 12 strikeouts. I'll be there Friday and Saturday at the Big A against the Orioles. And I can't wait to get away for a little bit from work and all the things that are going on in life, just to relax for those 6 or 7 hours at the ballpark. I can't wait for that. So thank you again for having me on Sports Minute tonight.
All right. And Isaiah.
Great show. Glad I got to, hop on with you guys tonight. Wasn't planning to actually because I thought I was gonna have to work right now, but the game got moved up because of the rain. But great show, and shout out to my guy Dalton Jeffries, who I met last night. James knows about that post-show call with Callan and the guys. Met him at the Coliseum. Told him, hey, go kick ass tomorrow, right? And then he comes out 6 innings, 1 run given up. 6 strikeouts. That's all you can ask for, man. So shout out to him on a great performance. Even though it was an L, but hey, whatever. Great performance.
Yep. I taught him everything I know. I'm the new pitching coach over there in Oakland. Yep. All right. So mess around. Your final thoughts.
It was an okay day for me. My White Sox dropped a doubleheader to the Guardians today, but my Bulls pulled through and saved the day. They tied up series with the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. No, it was an okay day. I seriously wish at this point in time, like I'm seriously getting sick and tired of watching Dansby Swanson in the game. Like at this point, he struck out 2 more times today. I don't know how many times I have to come on here and say it. Like at this point in time, this dude is like on pace to strike out over 250 times. So, like, I'm seriously getting sick and tired of this crap. Like,
would that be a record?
That's Ryan Howard numbers.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you. Like
22 strikeouts in 14 games.
Damn.
Wow.
Huh?
Okay.
22 strikeouts in 14 games?
He has more than that. You have to think that was 22, but he's now up to like 24.
Oh my goodness! Somebody send that guy to the minors,
dude. He's up to 24 strikes, and it's funny though too, because every time I'm watching a game, they have 2 runners on, and the announcers go, "Well, maybe this is the time he's gonna break out," and I'm like, "Yeah, right." And then he watches 2 pitches right down the middle, and I'm like, "Oh, it's an 0-2 count." I'm like, "Watch, he's gonna strike out." And then the next pitch is outside, and he swings. I'm like, "Oh, you watch the 2 pitches that are right down the middle, but then you swing at the one that's outside." Yeah, freaking fantastic.
It's a good thing he's got a good glove. That's the only thing keeping him on the roster.
Well,
sounds like he needs some days off.
His contract His contract is supposed to be expiring after this season. So I'm really hoping that we don't extend him. I'm really hoping that Atlanta just lets him walk and gets rid of this sucker because I'm getting sick of it. Or trade him
like Sean Murphy.
Trade him at the deadline.
He'll go to the A's.
Honestly, I'll trade you right now, him for Sano right now.
You know what?
I trade you Sean Murphy for him. I will do it, honestly.
You know what?
Wow.
At this point in time, if I was GM and any team walked up and said, "You give us Swanson, I'll fill your vending machines for a year. I'll give you guys a buffet lunch every day," I'd be like, "Okay, deal. He's yours." I'd be like, "Take him.
Wow.
Take him."
Damn.
Dude,
so right now, if he was to play every game, he would strike out 250. He's on pace for 259 times striking out.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
Jeez.
The first guy in Major League Baseball history, in his first 4 seasons in Major League Baseball to strike out in the first 10 plus games every single one of his years in Major Leagues.
Wow.
The dude it's bad. It's bad, bro. Okay. With that, and then don't forget that tomorrow you can actually catch our very first live. We're going live. We're going to have OVW live right here tomorrow night. We're going to be streaming it live on the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. So if you want to check out a little bit of OVW, this is going to be the place to watch it right here. Catch it live right here. Yeah. Come in, drop some elbows, give some suplexes, and we'll be good. So with that, Chris, why don't you go ahead and suplex us on out of here?